Good afternoon. Hi, Hendrik. Hi, Nadine.
Hey Sophie, how you doing?
Hey,
Yeah, good, thank you. I think this might be it. I don't know if are we expecting anybody else? Dorsey or Ivan or Angelina?
can you repeat the question?
Are we expecting anybody else for today?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while since we've been able to all meet together. It's nice to have everyone, lots of us here today to the Python meeting. I don't know, Nadine, would you like to start? Do you have something that you'd like to talk about? I have some points written from last week. Yeah, but I can save them for later.
I have one big one, which is we are going to release an SDK survey. That's for Hiero SDKs in general. And I think it would be very, very beneficial to hear all of your thoughts and how you got on with the SDK, and what you think could be improved. So I will definitely send you that out as soon as we have it. I also want to apologize if you can't hear me really well. Please let me know because I'm in a really loud co-working space because I don't have internet at home. So I hope you can understand me. But that's pretty much the main thing at the moment. I would love to hear what you want to discuss, Sophie.
I've always found Zoom pretty effective at filtering out background noise. I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear too much on your side.
Yeah.
I can't hear the background noise.
Very, very good and clear sound for me too. So no problem at all.
Okay, I'm glad because it's super loud here. Thanks.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just kind of work through my list, I guess. Well, the survey, Nadine, is that going to be in the Discord?
Let me quickly look into the channel where this is going to be sent out. So we're going to be sending it out mid-August. So we're currently still planning and how we are doing it. So I think it's going to be sent out to all like just any contributors at once. So I'm going to make sure that everyone's going to get it. That is definitely contributing to the Python SDK. And we want to get as much feedback, of course, of contributors as possible. Also, if you're involved in any sort of other SDKs, I don't know, maybe you got started with the Java or the JavaScript, or just by looking into the SDKs and have any pointers, please also feel free to include that in the survey. But yeah, so that should be coming in August.
Okay. Maybe a good place to start then would be, well, actually we have some new contributors. Maybe that's before I get distracted, that's probably the most amazing thing to discuss. So we have, I think, Manish, who has already a merged contribution. We have Piyush, who has helped with the linting and that is also working on an airdrop transaction. And a new one as well, we have Ive. Yeah, so that's really exciting to me. And everyone seems to be taking on like a variety of tasks. So some are claiming like the airdrop transactions. As I said, like the linting is something else that's been taken on. Piyush is also working on some of the GitHub actions. So that's so positive to see. And I wanted to say thank you for everybody to make that possible and also to help them feel welcome. And yeah, that's really exciting. The other thing is we had a survey for a possible office hour concept that we had a blog post as well. Let me try and find that, show you. So on the Hiero blog, we have this help shape Hiero's Python SDK office hours. This was a concept discussed on some of the community calls, the broader community calls, and Jessica from the Linux Foundation helped me to think how these would be done, and we came up with the idea of maybe doing a survey to establish what people would want, if they would want as well. We got a few responses, so We got 5 responses, and what we learned is that the people that would possibly be interested in this office hour would already mostly have merged contributions, but some of them are possible new starters. So that means that they haven't contributed at all, but they are curious, possibly, or they've recently started. And I actually wrote down a variety of tasks that we could possibly ask for help. And then I think this shows that most people are actually open to a variety of tasks. So a lot of the responses would be open for documentation tasks and also technical, but also some organization things. And we learned that a lot of the tasks are fair for people's tasks, for people's skills, but some of them are actually, we don't know. So I feel that we should use that information to think about how to get the word out of what the tasks are in the Python SDK, and possibly work on creating documentation for them that lists more clearly what the skills required would be. We have some really good documentation already for quite a lot of the transactions that we have. I think this kind of style really helps people to see what skills are required. But some of them, you know, I don't know. I'm not an expert in these transactions. I've just been researching them. Some of them, unfortunately, I am missing some documentation for that, and I was just going to see and find out what what would happen. So that could maybe be an area to think about next time. Just thinking how to structure the tasks and thinking how to market the tasks. So maybe we can take advantage of these blog posts. I spent some time on the weekend, maybe on Friday, thinking of a blog post based on this response to help communicate the available tasks. I think I have it as a possible pull request. It's not approved or anything. I haven't even had time to discuss it with anybody else. I just made it on Friday. Just going to try and see if I can show you. Maybe I don't have this to hand. I wasn't planning on Hiero website. Okay, I found it. Right, 1 second. That's the wrong one. So here on the Hiero website, the blog posts work through creating markdowns. And I created a blog post to try and, that's not mine. Oh, I'm on a different branch. Okay, well, anyway, I had a blog post that was informing people on what the available posts are. So I appreciate some feedback on that. There were some things that are not clear. Maybe some things are slightly outdated now as well. And if the office hours were to go ahead, I have a blog post waiting for that as well. So just in terms of the office hours, let me go back to show you. Yeah, so we have the challenge of trying to organize an office hour that would suit people. The main thing is, in general, it seems weekly is the most popular. And in terms of the type of office hour session, what I interpret from this is that quite a few people are looking for quite an intensive support session. So even breaking down the issues, guiding somebody to work through the issues. We don't have documentation on how to create Hedera transactions. We just have like, here is the proto, here is what the transaction should do. And, you know, good luck, explore, have some fun with it. But we don't really have the guidance with how that would be done. So I think there's a demand for that. But from what I see is that there's also a demand for a lot of other variety of things. So my interpretation is like a general office hour session. And maybe with time, we can make it more structured for every now and then to have theory sessions, every now and then to have review clinics or something. So weekly And then the timings, weekdays, that was surprising to me. They're the most popular, but a lot of people maybe aren't able to commit to a certain slot. And then the timing, yeah, there wasn't really any clear winner. You could argue maybe the evening UTC. So that's something that I wanted to discuss today. If we have members on the call that would be interested in the office hours, if we could kind of try and organize some kind of timing more concretely, as this survey didn't really pinpoint anything that's exact.
Okay, that's super cool. By the way, thank you so much for setting this Google Doc up or the survey. I think it's super cool to get these insights. When it comes to office hours at 9 p.m., I think that's unfortunate for the European scene, going to be really hard. However, how about having this not just on a Python SDK level, but general Hiero SDK? Because they should, and I know we're getting closer and closer to this. Currently, they're still a bit different, but they should be kind of similar. So with the executable and the architecture, all the Hiero SDKs have some sort of similarities. So I guess there's two ways I see we could go about this. What I hear, one is there's a need of having maybe a pre-recorded seminar that we link to that discusses how is this structured, what are the Hedera protobufs, how do the protobufs get generated, and how is because it's really interesting, how do we then build an SDK on top of the protobufs? So this could be something that someone does, either anyone from our DevRel, the A team, myself, or even you, Sophie, because you've done brilliant work actually with that. You already done I've seen your video series, which is really cool. And then we can just link to that because then that would explain the basic breakdown. And then we also don't have to repeat ourselves constantly. When someone new joins, we can just send them the link, say like, hey, if you have questions, read out on Discord. This is kind of how it's structured for all the SDKs. The second part that I hear is having help to debug something and to have some guidance and mentorship. And again, I think we can do that SDK by. So we could have like a weekly or fortnightly meetings on that. Different times. So maybe 1 week is European time zone, 1 week is a US time zone to be more aligned. And then we can also even have we can send out a survey or so, or check, I don't know how to do, if we can see if people are wanting to come or what their questions are. So we don't like wait just a whole hour on a call on our weekends. If people can sign up. And then when we have a couple of people that want to attend, we can jump on this call and then give generalized guidelines. That's something that I could envision. What does the rest of the team think?
I like that. I agree with you, Nadine. And first of all, Sophie, that is so much good work. Thank you for that. So the only point that I have is we currently planning to do this migration of the namespace for some SDKs where we will have some breaking changes. Maybe we will use that to add one or another breaking change to make the APIs of the SDKs more consistent and maybe just better from how the API feels. So what I would like is to bring that topic in the general SDK community meeting, which is, I think, next Monday, because then we will have Simi there, Rob there, all the other SDK people, and there we can discuss if we take what Sophie did here as a kind of template and just do it bigger for the SDKs in general, but this is something where I would really to have CME as the main maintainer of all the other SDKs or of most SDKs be involved in. And I totally agree with Nadine what you said regarding how is protobuf used, where is it coming from, how to create out of protobuf the files. That is something we really, really need to work on and have a good and solid base in all the SDKs. So yeah, totally like that. And it will help newcomers, absolutely.
100%. It's really cool to learn how to do an SDK. I think there's a lot of benefit for a lot of people to figure that out.
I totally agree because I'm currently doing the same road. I already talked with Richard, Zimi, and Rob about it. So I created a new Java SDK by accident. So I needed to try some things out, and at the end I had like a minimalistic Java SDK that does some things different than our current SDKs. And I already discussed with Simi seeing that in one of the upcoming community SDK meetings would really make sense, because I learned a lot about how the SDK is internally structured, why is happening things like they are currently happening, and so on. And there's currently zero documentation, so I really needed to do all this code deep dives to understand what is going on there. Yeah.
Actually, it makes our lives also easier because we have currently, correct me if I'm wrong, 8 SDKs, I think. But there's a multitude of course, many more programming languages. And now having finally the Python SDK, at least even Python's implemented before it wasn't needed. And if we give people the tools to know, oh, this is how we can build SDKs, maybe someone comes and is like, oh, I want to do a insert blah 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 language, let's say Ruby. I mean, Ruby for me is a bit of a dead language, but in theory someone could build a Ruby SDK because the approach is exactly the same for every single programming language. And then we might have like another couple of supported Hiero community SDKs with other programming languages, which is just going to make it more approachable. It's going to be better for the network in the end. But I just see it as a benefit.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, the general technical higher level meeting, because I think you're right. A lot of the infrastructure that we are building is for a general communication with the Hiero network. So learning that it's not Python kind of specific. This is the general theory. This is how it works. I think that will solve a lot of problems. That's a really good idea. Yeah, so if we were able to set that up, I would personally attend. There's a lot of things that I can learn, and you know, with the speed of development, it's difficult to also keep up to date. So yeah, you can count me in as an attendee to that meeting. Yeah, I will also say maybe like a fortnightly Python specific thing. I don't know if I heard you correct. Would also, for me, be a good idea, because I think there are some, you know, specific Python questions. And yesterday I was meeting with one of the new starters who's collaborating with me on one of the transactions, and a lot of the questions were, you know, specific to the code, like what does this code do? You know, how does it link to this? How do we create this class which links to the other one? All these kind of Python specific questions. There's also the issue of the level of comfort that you feel as a brand new starter to ask certain questions. And if it is all in the general Hiero meeting, I think that can be scary, right? Because the videos are published to YouTube. There could be many attendees of different seniority from lots of different projects. So yeah, that's just maybe something to keep thinking of. Nadine, regarding the release schedule, so I had written down that we have released 0.1.3 at the start of July, and
That's
were a lot of new changes, some depreciated methods.
mm. So wait, just to dive in with the release thing. So that is fully on me. So we first said we're gonna do it every 2 weeks to release, and then nothing has happened in a while, and now we started release the new versions again. Now I do want to go forward, put myself more accountable to have an actual release cadence, because we, especially now that we're merging so fast new features, it's nice if actually the people using the SDK have the newest versions in it. However, that brings me to the second part, which is about the breaking changes. So if we have deprecations or breaking changes, we do need to properly communicate this. At the moment, it's not so much of an issue because there's not so many people using the Python SDK in a productionized setting. I mean, there's some projects already building on it, which is amazing. It's just going to be more and more people, and we don't want to fully break them. So it should be backwards compatible, and if it's not, we need to have a good to communicate. For example, there's a really good PR at the moment up there, which is about type hinting from Roger, but also that one, as soon as this is going to be merged, there's going to be some issues with the old re-exports, and yeah. So the application warning has to be good. I just kind of want to, in general, like discuss here how we should deal with this. I think the change log is already it's great that we have that. What I would love to do with the change log is also to implement in as a pipeline step that it's we can't release a new version if the change log isn't up to date or edited. So that's always on speed. But yeah, just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
I mean, for me, I did a couple of methods that I deprecated, and I remember added into the change log as well. I don't know if my initial instinct would be correct to try and create backwards compatibility. So that was my first question. When you deprecate a method, do we require backward compatibility, like as far as possible? And then the second question I have is, what would be the usual policy of when to remove these methods? So in some of the comments a while back, I had said, in 6 months' time we will remove it, but I don't know whether you would usually wait like for 2 releases, 1 release, if it's like a major change, if it's a minor change. So I think that would be my question. So here they are in the change log. Yeah, and some of the backwards compatibility issues were quite difficult to do, actually, and you were really helpful to help me pick up on a couple of them as well. So I think that just also goes to show that when we create the Python code, I've personally found like MyPy and PyLint really helpful to help check for any of these things. That quite a lot of these changes that I made could have been avoided because MyPy would pick them up. Yeah, so I have just those 2 questions. What would be the usual deprecation policy and the time period between them?
I would like to say something to that. So first of all, I haven't seen those list of breaking changes. That is really great to have that. My personal point of view is we are here developing a new SDK that is still heavy in development, far from being feature complete. And my point would be, you cannot assume from such a project that we already now say everything we do is, totally fixed, and maybe if we change something then in 9 months. I would like, especially for something like the Python SDK, say, let's move forward fast, but be transparent and informative. And for me, that is like having something like you just shown, like, oh, we have some breaking changes. Here is a list. In best, it would be, here's a list, and this is what you can do, or that is what you should use instead, with the name of the parameters. Quite easy. You already had that in this list. And if we then say, hey, we deprecate something, and when something is deprecated, it will be, or any further version can change that. So from an API perspective, whatever we define as public API, I would like to see, hey, in one version we deprecated, but we can already change it in the next version, as long as we, in the current flow where we say, hey, we want to move forward, we want to get this SDK up and running. That is my personal point of view here.
Yeah, it's actually been helpful to my skills to learn how to create things that are backwards compatible as well, and to always be thinking, okay, if I change this, am I creating any breaking changes, and be aware of that. So I think that's definitely kind of a benefit to my skills. But yeah, I would agree with you, especially as we're in version 0 point something, that the main priority is just to keep building, and we still are growing our user base. But we should probably try and probably try and make it nice for our new users that will be using the Python SDK.
Yeah, maybe one thing I can share. We had a discussion on the TSC about that, and there is currently a pull request. Let me find that one. It's this one where we work on backward compatibility guideline for Hiero in general. So that is something that will be on the Hiero level, where we try to define guidelines and even have guidelines in it for the SDKs. And in that you will see for SDKs, it will say that a previous version will benefit from functionality enhancement for a minimum period of 6 months. The previous version will be maintained for major bugs and critical security fixes for a minimum period of 1 year. This is for sure especially written with the SDKs we already have in mind. And when you look at the top, it lists projects, and there it lists the Go, JavaScript, Python, Rust, Java, C++, and Swift SDK. So the Python SDK is part of that. But at the moment, this is not committed. And that for me means, especially for something that is currently in the creation, it should be handled differently than an SDK that is there since years and already been used. As long as we make that clear to the community, right? That's the important point here.
I mean, just saying, this is the first time I do see this compatibility guidelines written, and I think this is brilliant. It's great that, because this has to be done on a Hiero governance SDK level, or not just per SDK. So we need to be aligned in that. I do see your point that you say at the moment it doesn't matter so much because the Python SDK is probably the one that isn't used as much. Slightly disagree, because even if the projects that are using it are only like 2-3 of them, it's still important to take them seriously, or also like other contributors. And it's just good practice to think about, we don't want to break people, because there's nothing more annoying if you use an SDK, everything's working, then there's someone releases a new version and everything breaks. So
Sure.
I think it's a very good practice to just, every time we change something that it could break people, we think, is there a way we can design this to make it backwards compatible. Sometimes there is, most of the time there is, sometimes there's not. I think just to ask yourself that question will already help with most of the issues. But I fully agree. If at the moment in the state of the SDK, which we didn't even realize, release one full version, but are still on 1.1, no, 0.13, because it's still like, of course, expanding. That's not important. Even if we break someone, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Yeah, I agree on that. I would like to have in Hiero in general in future something like project states where we can say, okay, that project is in incubation mode and that project is graduated. And the project that is graduated should have like, oh yeah, we have those 6 or 9 months, and that is the time that we communicate information, like it could get a breaking change and things like that. But for a project in incubation mode that is fresh, that is just started, from my point of view, that is the best time to do breaking changes, because there you still have the possibility to do it without breaking too many people, without making too much trouble on it. And we should use that.
Yep, I agree. So it's good that we did like that refactor now with the class names going to snake case, etc. So if there's anything else that we need to change ASAP to align with the other SDKs, or just to have a better standard, I think, yeah, now is the best time to do so. It's worse when everything's done.
So
But
oh, sorry.
I just want to say, so these are all the things that I wanted to discuss. Thanks, guys. Go, Sophie.
Okay, thank you. So relating to changes, this is just a style change, but for me, I think I see benefit in it. So the PyLint and the MyPy possible additions. Right now, we have had some pull requests and we have some open issues to improve the linting. So ensuring that the file doesn't have like extra spaces, the imports are ordered in the right order, all this kind of thing. But also we have had some pull requests for type hinting as well, where we clarify, is this a string, is this a union, all these things. Yeah, we've already changed quite a lot of code in that. They haven't affected the functionality so far. I think it was our Barker's pull request is slightly bigger and does involve some changes with that, I think. But so far, I think the reason why I think they're both a good idea is that they'll help to spot things that we might have to refactor in the future. So I was talking about how some of the snake case variables were picked up, that we had camel case, that it would be more normal for them to be snake case. And if we are able to pick that up at the point of development instead of when it is merged, then we are able to avoid some refactors later, which might not be fully backwards compatible. So that will save us some time and maybe some headaches for users in the future. I think it will also mean for users that are joining in the Python SDK that are used to using MyPy and PyLint, they already have this set up probably in like their Visual Studio. They're used to using these kinds of things. And if you run it through, you'll still find lots of errors. Again, that some of them are just errors because like the proto doesn't have types and things like that well defined. So that's also like it looks like there's many errors, but it's not actually, you know, necessarily significant things. So I would be with the opinion to try and use PyLint and MyPy more often. I don't know whether I'd say as far as a GitHub action, but I would recognize that they would have some benefit. So I wanted to discuss that, whether you think so far the pull requests have added benefit to the project and if we should take that any further.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, we can add this check in our CI. So I'm raising an issue right now to add to the CI the step to not be able to merge a PR if there's no difference found in the changelog. And then I can also raise an issue, or you can raise an issue if you want, because it was your idea to add this into the pipeline. And then without this test passing, we will not be able to merge anything. So that would make it automatic. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, there's just a couple things that I'm quirks and I'm not sure of, which is silencing the, because we have, these would be big refactors, style refactors, so they don't really affect the functionality, but because of that, it is picking up on like imports of things that don't have types and things, so that it looks like there's a lot to do. So even if you have a pull request, I don't know whether that will still complain to some extent. So we might just have to juggle different settings. I know Piyush has been researching into that. Yeah, but I think that's a good idea. It's just a matter of trying to get like the right settings for it to be workable, and with time we can loosen them as the project ticks off more of the PyLint and the MyPy recommendations.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, can do some analysis and see what we need. But we usually, funny enough, you want to make it like tighter the more that a project grows. So I guess we start more like we can start like fairly lax, and then if we see like that we need more linting and rows, we can put more in as we go.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for that clarification. The other thing on my list, so we also have a lot of changes with file servers transactions. And I think Dosi is also getting started on smart contract transactions. So I wanted to ask Dosi how that is going and if there are any blockers, and also if you're able to explain a little bit the logic behind them. I know we have a couple people curious about possibly doing them. So yeah, I just wanted to just see if you have kind of an update with the file servers and the smart contract transaction.
So the creating of the files and smart contracts is going well. Now I'm thinking how to. Now you have commented on the PR with the smart contract create about the selector and function parameters. And right now I'm thinking how I could make it better so it is the code is better and it's more readable. But I don't think now I have the time to explain the smart contracts logic.
Yeah, okay. In terms of transactions, I think you are working on like basically it looks like all of them have open issues. So I think once that's done, like the file services are done.
Yeah, I mean the file services is on my local Git ready, and I'm waiting to merge them one by one. So now is the file delete. Once we merge it, I will upload the file contents query, and yeah, and the file update I think is missing also.
Yeah. Okay. And then I see Angie is on the call. I don't know, Angie, if you're able to speak, but I think you are assigned to one issue. I was wanting to ask if you had any questions regarding that.
No, nothing yet. Still working on it. I had pulled away for a few things, but hoping to get back into some of it. Just been busy a little bit, so it's been taking me a little longer.
Okay. So wait, what was that called? That was the
It was the node account ID issues.
oh yeah, that was something that Dosek created, that the node wasn't executing correctly. I don't know.
I think so. I'll have to look at it a quick second. I'm not on my computer. I'm running this off my phone, so I'm not home right now. But I do believe it was somewhere in that regard, but I'll take a look at it again and double check.
Okay, I think we've worked through all of my list. I sorry, the list was long because I had been accumulating questions. I wasn't able to. We weren't able to do the meeting last week, and I was a little bit late to the prior one. So that's all from me. I don't know if anybody else has anything else they'd like to discuss or ask questions on. If you have any feedback on the development at the Python SDK, also be very happy to listen to that and your opinion. Hendrik, is there anything that you'd like to discuss regarding the broader Hiero?
Not really, to be fair. So I mean, normally have a conflict at this time slot, so that's why I'm the first time in the Python community or Python SDK community meeting, and it's really great being here. And you do a really good job, Sophie, with doing the moderation here and bringing that topic forward. So the only I have to say is thanks on that. It looks like a really good project moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I'll follow up regarding the blog post. I think there's still some tweaking to do with them, Nadine, maybe Adosi as well.
Yeah, I reviewed all the blog posts.
Yeah.
I approved one that can be merged if you want to, which is like the one with the new release. My problem is the two others, when I click on the preview page, I do not see that post.
Oh, okay.
And I wrote it in the pull request. So please have a look at that. I did it today. I looked at all the pull requests today and hope to do it now that I'm at least for some weeks home and not traveling more often again the next weeks.
Okay, and Nadine and Dosi, if it's okay with you, I'll be in touch. And Angie as well, be in touch with the possible office hour to see where we go with that.
That's fine.
Sounds
Count me
good.
in as an attendee.
Okay, great. Thank you everybody for attending. You're very welcome here. Thanks for all the questions, all the feedback, and yeah. So next time will be in 2 weeks' time. Thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.